Yo guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we celebrate the release of the Conjuring Last Rites with a full-on Conjuring ranking. Alright, so yes, last Friday, The Conjuring Last Rites officially released in movie theaters worldwide, and I have to say, I am a big fan of the Conjuring universe. I have always thought that the Ed and Lorraine Warren stories were really great. I have always thought that making this an interconnected universe was a really interesting choice, and I have to say that for most part it actually really worked, and I was a big fan of it. I do have a disclaimer for this ranking. I haven't seen most of these movies in a very long time, so that's the reason that I decided to only focus on the movies I did watch recently, which is basically the 4 Conjuring films. I watched them in a marathon, just on my own, one movie per evening, and I'm just going to rank down the 4 Conjuring films. So in this ranking, I will not add any Annabelle, I will not add The Nun, I will not add The Curse of La Llorona, and I will also not add like That Dances with Wolves, that also plays in the same universe, but nobody actually fucking knows that one. I haven't even seen it yet, so I will not be including those films. I will just be talking about the 4 Conjuring films. With that being said, let's get straight into my ranking. And of course, let me know your ranking in the comments down below, because I'm really excited to hear your opinion on this one. Are you also a big fan of the Conjuring films? Then let me know, and I really want to talk to you about it. And in 4th place, I have decided to place The Devil Made Me Do It, the 3rd chapter of the franchise. And the reason for that is, in and of itself, this movie is not the worst. It's still a fine movie. I do not think any movie within the Conjuring universe, if you're talking about the Conjuring films itself, not about Annabelle or stuff, or The Nun, then there are no bad movies in it. Curse of La Llorona is also quite bad, by the way. But there are no bad movies with Conjuring in the title, and this one, it is really disappointing for most parts, but it's also good in other parts. A good thing about this one is just the way that they decided to make this a court trial. It's a very interesting idea, and this movie also really focuses on the Ed and Lorraine Warren story, their chemistry, and how they interact with everything and how they interact with life. So this one is really great if you're looking at Ed and Lorraine Warren alone. On the other hand, the horror is really bad in this one. The story is quite boring in this one as well, because they deviated from the first 2 ideas and from the first 2 movies way too much, which made sure that this one is just very disappointing. And even if you think like, okay, this one will get better upon rewatch, no, the good things remain good, the bad things become worse, because on rewatch it just gets more boring, because you don't really care for this kind of story because of what they have set up with these first 2 movies, and that is the reason I put this on number 4. It's just a bit boring. And entering the top 3 already, I have decided to put The Conjuring Last Rites. Yep, the newest one in the franchise. I do think this one is a bit better than its predecessor, than The Devil Made Me Do It, but it suffers from all the same problems. And this one adds a few problems to that, but they also fix some other things in the story. The Ed and Lorraine Warren story is still very prominent and is very good and takes up a lot of the runtime of this, making sure that they have to adjust the runtime a little bit to also tell you that horror story, that horror vibe, making sure that the runtime is so incredibly long and just way too long, and that making sure that the entire movie feels bloated as fuck. The only thing that saves this movie is, which is the saving grace for it, is that the Ed and Lorraine Warren story and their family and their chemistry is just really good. That is incredibly well made. You just have the story on the other, or the horror story on the other hand, with the family of the Smurls, that never really capture that magic and never really get as good as the first 2 Conjuring films, making sure that this movie disappoints incredibly hard if you're looking at the horror alone. But if you're a fan of the universe as well and see this movie as the ending of the franchise that it's supposed to be, that part of it is really good. In the end, it makes for just a very convoluted movie that feels way too overbloated, but it has its good parts, and that's why it's a number 3. Even though I only have 4 movies to rank, I did think that number 1 and 2 were quite interchangeable. I do think that both of these movies are incredibly great and albeit I can almost say perfect. But in the end, I still decided to put The Conjuring 2 on number 2. I do think this one is incredible. The reason I'm putting it at number 2 is because I do think that this runtime for this movie also is a little bit too big for its own good and could have shortened down quite a bit as well. Not a lot, not as much as The Conjuring Last Rites could have done it, but this one could have skipped some things as well. The horror is incredibly amazing in this one. They also focus more on Ed and Lorraine Warren and their story, but they interchange it with the horror aspect of this and with the family of the Hodgkins really well, making sure that you feel both sides of the story and you grow with both sides of the story at the same time, which is incredibly well done. Valak is an intense and is by far the best enemy that the Warrens have ever faced in their life, both on screen and possibly, if you believe in it, what they have done in real life. Also in real life. And it's incredibly great to see this come to fruition in this movie. It's incredibly scary, it's incredibly tense. It tells a very good story. It gives you something about all of this being a hoax or all of this being real. It deals with it, so it deals with a lot of things, but this one is genuinely really amazing, really scary. It's just a tad bit too long. And then of course we have only one movie left, and at number 1 I have decided to put The Conjuring. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye. All jokes aside, no, I do really feel like The Conjuring, what this movie did originally when it came out is I did think, and I do personally believe that this one reinvented the genre for horror quite a bit. Not as much as, of course, as a movie like The Exorcist did, but this one definitely made sure that haunted house movies were a hype again, and this one definitely did it in an incredible way by making you care about the entire family, not only the Warrens, but also the parents. Their family chemistry was incredible. They focus a lot on the parent family and not only on Ed and Lorraine Warren, making sure that before all of the horror things happen and before all of the demonistic stuff happens in this film, that you really care about every single member of that family, including the dog. And what this movie also does, which The Conjuring 2 does even better in my opinion, so there's one for that as well, is making you care about the villain as well. In The Conjuring 2, if you're talking about that one again, you really care about Bill Wilkins and his story after a while. And you're not going to care about Bathsheba, of course, but the way that they portrayed her character and what they did with her and the other spirits in the house, they make you feel them and they make you feel scared of them as well, especially when this movie gets to the point where all hell breaks loose literally in its third act. You really feel how scary it all is, and you feel the tension, and the tension, even though you watch this movie 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, or 100 times, the tension will still remain there and will remain present. The force of this movie is incredible, and I do think this is one of the best horror films ever made. If you're talking about haunted house films and not of the more artistic side of horror, this one is a really incredible blockbuster that I definitely quote on a daily basis. I have some Conjuring vibes in my life where I just randomly will scream towards my housemates or other people, "In the name of God, I condemn you back to hell!" I think that quote is fucking awesome. It's incredible. I love that quote. It's my favorite quote from a lot of quotes. Alright, so there you have it, my ranking of the Conjuring franchise, or just the Conjuring the 4 Conjuring films. Not the entire franchise, not the entire universe, but just the franchise of the Conjuring itself. What did you think of these 4 films? Please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really excited to hear your opinion on them. I want to thank you for watching this video, and I would like to see you in the next one. Thank you, and bye bye.